Working on a couple of small projects today. I have a couple of sea tables in the house. They're made in China like all the rest of them are. And of course, they're made out of cheap Asian wood and they don't last, and people get drinks on them and spill things on it, and then they end up bubbling up and looking like this. So I removed them off of the frame, taking them outside here, removing the finish as much as I can, and then I'll give you an update on what I'm going to do with these a little later today. Alright, I've got everything sanded down. I grabbed my Zinsser Bullseye shellac and coated this up with some bin shellac because of all the water damage. This one was a lot more damage than this, but they're both sanded smooth. I get this little applicator from Home Depot. It was like less than $3, and I keep it in a baggie, and I only use it for the shellac. And I've gotten more uses out of this roller, and this keeps it from drying out. I recommend that you have one of these around for small jobs like this, because it really makes a big difference. So I'm going to wait for this to dry, and then I'm going to move on to the next step. But this will keep water from getting down into these areas, especially where all this water damage was from before. This will keep that particle board from getting any more water damage. Alright, so I have put a base coat on my sea tabletops, and I've put one layer of paint on actually it's a paint wash on top of the sea tables, and I really wet it down with a brush, and then I use my graining tool and use the teeth to go over the parts to make it look more like wood grain. By dragging it across here, you can see the lines that I've done there. So I'm going to use 2 or 3 different colors here. You can also use this part of the graining tool also by rocking it back and forth. I put the handle on it when I go, but you can also do that effect with it too. But I happen to like the teeth better because it looks more realistic, especially for something this small. So I'll go over this with a couple of other colors, and then I'll show you what it looks like. But it's very, very easy to do. The key is to make sure that you wet your paint down enough so that you have time to work with it and run your graining tool through the paint to get this effect. So I'll show you what it looks like when I put the next layer of a different color on it. But it's starting to really come together. Oh, here's my finished sea table. There are 3 different colors of paint on here, and I have applied a top coat. It's still drying a little bit, but I didn't have to use a glaze. What I did was I watered down my paint like a paint wash, and I applied 3 different colors of brown. With each color, I will apply it, and then I will use a graining tool and use the part of it that looks like a comb, and then I'll comb through the wood grain going the direction of the grain. If I don't like it, then I'll go through it again. If it's too watery, I'll just wait a minute or so until it starts to dry, and then I'll go through and comb it again. So I layered it with 3 different colors of paint. And you can even take your graining tool and you can kind of go wavy with it instead of straight to resemble wood grain. But it really works great, and you don't have to have a glaze. And you can do this and recreate the wood look without having a glaze. You just have to work a little faster. So let me know if you have any questions or want to know how to do this. It really is beautiful, and it does look like wood.